The next few days changed everything Taeyang thought he knew about life in space. The sisters gave him a room near the medical bay, smaller than his ship's quarters but comfortable. The bed adjusted to his body temperature. The walls could change color based on his mood. Veloric technology was remarkable, but the technology wasn't what made him stay. It was the conversations. Every day brought new discussions, new discoveries. Nira would ask him about human emotions, and he would try to explain feelings that Velorics had forgotten. Lysa wanted to understand human creativity, why they made art and music for no practical reason. In return, they taught him about their world. The Veloric Federation spanned dozens of star systems. Centuries ago, they had chosen efficiency over emotion. It made them powerful but empty. Now many Velorics felt something was missing, though they couldn't name what it was. "We're searching for what we lost," Nira explained one evening. They were in the common area sharing a meal. Taeyang had taught them how to cook human food, and they were fascinated by the process. "But we don't know how to find it." "Maybe you're looking in the wrong place," Taeyang suggested. He stirred the pot of stew he was making. The smell filled the ship. "Humans don't find emotions. We experience them. They happen to us. But how do we experience them if we've evolved past them?" Lisa asked. She watched him cook with intense focus like she was studying a scientific process. "You haven't evolved past them," Taeyang said. "You've just suppressed them. I've seen your markings change color when you're excited or nervous. I've heard the way your voices shift when you're interested in something. You still feel. You just don't acknowledge it." Nira touched her own markings thoughtfully. "You're right. Our bodies still respond, but our culture tells us to ignore these responses, to focus on logic and efficiency." "That sounds lonely," Taeyang said quietly. "It is," Lisa admitted. "Why do you think we volunteered for this mission?" "We wanted to escape the emptiness, and then we found you." The way she said it made Taeyang's heart beat faster. He ladled the stew into 3 bowls. "Try this. Food is about more than nutrition for humans. It's about pleasure, comfort, sharing." Both sisters took their bowls carefully. They had learned human table manners over the past few days. Nira took the first bite and her markings flared bright gold. "Oh," she breathed. "This is—" "I don't have words." Lisa tried hers next. Her eyes widened. "It's not just taste. There are so many sensations. The temperature, the texture, the way the flavors change as I chew. Our food never does this." "Because your food is optimized for efficiency," Taeyang said. "Maximum nutrition, minimum time. But humans eat for joy. We gather together for meals. We celebrate with food. It's social, emotional, not just biological." They ate in comfortable silence for a while. Then Nira asked, "Taeyang, what's it like? To feel so much all the time?" He thought about it. "Overwhelming sometimes. Beautiful other times. When I'm happy, I feel like I could fly. When I'm sad, everything seems heavy. When I'm angry, I want to break things. When I'm in love—" He stopped, realizing what he was about to say. "When you're in love?" Lisa prompted. Her markings pulsed with curiosity. "When I'm in love, I feel complete, like I found something I didn't know I was missing. The other person becomes important. Their happiness matters as much as mine, maybe more." "Have you been in love before?" Nira asked softly. "Once. On Earth. It didn't work out. She wanted to stay, I wanted to explore. So I left." He looked at both of them. "I thought I preferred being alone. Turns out I was just looking for the right company." The sisters exchanged another one of those looks. Taeyang was learning to read them. This one meant they were having an entire conversation without words. "Taeyang," Nira said carefully, "can humans love more than one person at once?" His heart stopped, then started again faster. "Yes, it's not common, but it happens." "Why do you ask?" "Because in Veloric culture, bonding is different," Lisa explained. "When Velorics bond, they often bond in groups. Siblings, friends, colleagues. The idea of exclusive pairing is alien to us." "Oh," Taeyang said. His mind was racing. "We're sisters," Nira continued. "We've been together our entire lives. We work together, live together, think together. If we were to develop feelings for someone, it would be together." "Are you saying—" Taeyang couldn't finish the sentence. "We're saying we've both developed feelings for you," Lisa said bluntly. "Both of us. And we can't separate those feelings from each other. It's not how we work." Taeyang set down his bowl before he dropped it. I have feelings for both of you too." I thought it was wrong, confusing. Humans usually choose one person. But you said it's possible, Nira reminded him, for humans to love more than one person. It is. It's just complicated. Everything about this situation is complicated, Lisa pointed out. We're three different individuals from two different species who probably shouldn't even be attracted to each other. But we are, so the question is, what do we do about it? Taeyang looked at both of them. Nira with her gentle curiosity and brilliant mind. Lisa with her fierce honesty and warrior's courage. They were so different but perfectly balanced. And somehow impossibly they both wanted him. We could try, he said quietly. We could see if it works. No promises, no expectations, just honest exploration. Like research, Nira said with a small smile. Like the best kind of research, Taeyang agreed. Where you don't know what you'll discover. Lisa stood and walked around the table. She took Taeyang's hand. Then let's discover together. Nira joined them, taking his other hand. Her skin was cool against his. The council wanted us to study humanity. I don't think they expected this result. What will you tell them? Taeyang asked. The truth, Nira said. That humans are remarkable. That they taught us to feel again. That cultural exchange goes both ways. And if they don't approve? He asked. Then we'll find our own way, Lisa said firmly. Together. They stood there, hands joined. Three beings from different worlds connected by something that shouldn't exist but did anyway. Outside the ship, stars streamed past. Inside, something new was beginning. I have an idea, Taeyang said suddenly. You wanted to study human culture, right? Music, art, emotions? What if we created something together? A place where humans and Belerics could meet. Exchange ideas. Learn from each other. A cultural center, Nira said, her markings brightening with excitement. A neutral zone, Lisa added, where both species are equal. Where we can build bridges instead of barriers. We could combine resources, Taeyang continued, the idea growing in his mind. My ship, your ship, whatever we can gather. Start small. Prove it works. Show both our species that cooperation is possible. It's ambitious, Nira said, but she was smiling. And probably difficult. And might fail completely. But it might work, Lisa finished. And if it does, it could change everything. For both our species. Taeyang squeezed both their hands. Then let's try. Let's show the galaxy that different species can not only coexist but thrive together. That emotions aren't weakness. That connection is strength. Nira leaned forward and did something completely un-Valoric. She pressed her forehead against his. A gesture of deep intimacy in human culture. Thank you, she whispered. For reminding us how to feel. Lisa did the same from the other side. And for showing us we don't have to be alone. Standing between them, Taeyang felt something he had never felt before. Complete belonging. He had pretended to sleep to discover their secrets. Instead, he had discovered something far more important. He had discovered home. The Valoric ship continued through space, carrying three unlikely companions toward an uncertain future. But for the first time in a long time, none of them were afraid. They had each other. They had a plan. And they had hope. In the vast emptiness of space, they had found what both species had been searching for. Connection, purpose, and maybe, just maybe, love. Taeyang decided it was time. He had learned enough from listening. Now he needed to interact with them properly. Besides, pretending to sleep was getting uncomfortable, and he was starting to feel guilty about the deception. Sort of, he heard them enter again. Their footsteps were familiar now. Nira first, then Lisa. They moved around the room, checking equipment and discussing his readings. He waited for the right moment. Taeyang groaned softly and moved his hand. He made it look natural, like someone waking up slowly. He heard Nira's quick intake of breath. Lisa, he's waking up, Nira said quickly. Taeyang slowly opened his eyes, blinking against the soft light. Both sisters were leaning over him, their faces showing concern. Up close, they were even more striking. Nira's bioluminescent markings pulsed gently with a golden glow. Lisa's violet skin seemed to shimmer. Hello? He said in Korean, his voice rough from not speaking. Thank you for saving me, Nira smiled. Her markings brightened, which he now understood meant she was happy or excited. She touched her translation device. You are welcome. How do you feel? Much better, Taeyang said. He sat up slowly, testing his body. Everything worked. Your medical technology is impressive. I feel like I was never injured. Your body did most of the work, Lisa said through her own translator. Human healing capability is remarkable. Taeyang looked around the medical bay. Where am I exactly? And who are you? I mean, I know you saved me, but I am Nira, the silver-haired one said. This is my sister Lissa. We are xenobiologists from the Valoric Federation. We were conducting research in this sector when we received your distress signal. Lucky for me, Taeyang said. He decided to test the waters. What kind of research? The sisters exchanged a quick glance. Taeyang pretended not to notice. General xenobiology, Nira said smoothly, studying different species and their adaptations to space travel. Nothing specific. It was technically true, Taeyang thought, just not completely honest. He decided to surprise them. Speaking in their language, he said, That sounds fascinating. I'd love to learn more about your research. Both sisters froze. Their markings flickered in what might have been shock. Place's hand moved instinctively toward her weapon. You speak Valoric? Nira asked in their language, her voice uncertain. Only recently, Taeyang admitted, switching back to their tongue. He tapped his ear. My translator has been learning your language since you boarded my ship. It's old tech but effective. By now it's mapped most of your vocabulary and grammar. But we thought it was damaged, Lisa said. Her markings pulsed rapidly, showing her confusion. My ship's systems were damaged. My personal equipment was fine. Taeyang kept his voice casual. Humans build redundancy into everything we can. We like having backup plans. Nira's face showed several emotions quickly. Surprise, worry, then something that looked like respect. How long have you understood us? This was the moment. Taeyang could lie and save them embarrassment. Or he could be honest and see what happened. He chose honesty. Since shortly after you brought me here, he said gently, the translator works faster when I'm exposed to a language. Every conversation helped it learn. Nira's markings dimmed significantly. She looked at Lisa, then back at Taeyang. Then you heard everything we said. About our research. About humans, about finding me attractive. Taeyang finished for her. Yes, I heard that too. Lisa made a sound that might have been a groan. She covered her face with her hands. This is mortifying. It doesn't have to be, Taeyang said quickly. He swung his legs off the bed and stood up facing them. I'm not angry. I'm actually flattered and grateful. You saved my life and you've been taking excellent care of me. But we were studying you without your full consent, Nira said. Her voice carried genuine guilt. We should have been honest from the beginning. And I should have told you I could understand you, Taeyang countered. We both kept secrets. But now we can start over with honesty. If you want. Lisa lowered her hands. You're not upset? A little, Taeyang admitted. About the secret research. But I understand why you did it. Your council wanted information and you were following orders. Besides, I learned a lot by listening. About your culture, your society, your feelings about emotions and efficiency. And about us finding you attractive, Nira said quietly. That must have been awkward to overhear. Taeyang felt his face grow warm. Actually, that was the least awkward part because... He paused, gathering courage. Because I find both of you attractive too. The silence that followed was heavy but not uncomfortable. Nira's markings began to glow brighter. Lisa's posture changed from defensive to curious. Really? Lisa asked. You find aliens attractive? That's not just politeness. Humans don't lie about attraction, Taeyang said. At least not good humans. Yes, you're different from human women, but that doesn't make you less beautiful. Your markings are amazing, the way they glow and pulse with your emotions. And your eyes show so much depth. Plus, you're both brilliant scientists who risked your careers to understand a species everyone else dismissed. Nira took a step closer. We thought cross-species attraction was impossible. Our data suggested it required too much biological compatibility. Maybe attraction isn't just biological, Taeyang suggested. Maybe it's about connection, understanding, shared curiosity. You've been trying to understand humans. I've been trying to understand you. That's a kind of intimacy, isn't it? Lissa moved closer too. Now both sisters stood near him. This is unprecedented, she said. The council will never believe it. Then don't tell them, Taeyang said. Not yet. Let's figure out what this is first. You said you wanted to study humans. Well, here I am, a willing research subject. Ask me anything. Test anything. Just be honest with me and I'll be honest with you. You would stay here? Nira asked. Voluntarily? For a while. I don't have anywhere urgent to be. My cargo was destroyed and I need to find new work anyway, plus... He smiled. I'm curious too. About your culture, your technology, your perspective on the universe, and about both of you. Nira looked at Lisa. Something passed between them, some silent communication. Then Nira turned back to Taiyang and extended her hand in the human gesture of greeting. Then let's start again, she said, properly this time. I'm Nira, xenobiologist and research scientist. This is Lisa, my sister and colleague. We're studying humanity because we believe your species has something important to teach the galaxy. Would you be willing to help us? Taiyang took her hand. Her skin was cool and smooth, with a texture unlike anything on Earth. I'm Taiyang, cargo hauler and apparent research subject. I'd be happy to help. On one condition. What condition? Lisa asked. You have to let me study you too. Fair exchange of knowledge. You learn about humans, I learn about Valoric's deal. Nira's markings pulsed with what Taiyang now recognized as joy. Deal, she said. Lisa stepped forward and took his other hand. This is going to be interesting, she said with a smile that showed teeth slightly sharper than human ones. Very interesting. Taiyang stood there holding both their hands and realized his life had just taken the most unexpected turn possible. He had gone from dying alone in space to standing between two alien scientists who found him as fascinating as he found them. If this was research, it was going to be the best research project in history. Taiyang spent the next hours pretending to sleep, while his mind worked through everything he had learned. The sisters thought his translator was broken. They believed he couldn't understand them. That gave him an advantage, though he wasn't sure yet what to do with it. He touched the small device in his ear canal carefully. The translator had been working the whole time, learning their language from every word they spoke. It was old technology, designed for traders who needed to learn alien languages quickly. His grandfather had given it to him years ago. The old man always said knowledge was better than weapons. The door opened again. Taiyang quickly closed his eyes and relaxed his breathing. 2 sets of footsteps entered. He recognized them now by sound. Nira's steps were lighter, more measured. Lisa walked with purpose, her boots clicking sharply against the floor. His vitals are perfect, Nira said. Better than perfect, actually. He should still be weak, but look at these readings. His body is recovering at twice the expected rate. The report said humans heal quickly, Lisa replied, but I didn't believe it until now. Our people would need weeks to recover from oxygen deprivation like he experienced. It's not just physical healing. Look at his brain scans. New neural pathways are forming even while he sleeps. He's processing everything that happened, organizing it, learning from it. Taiyang felt a strange pride at their words. They were impressed with humanity, with him. He had to remind himself they were also keeping secrets from him, studying him without his full consent. Sister, I accessed the human cultural database while you were running the diagnostics, Lisa said. Her voice carried a different tone now. Curious, maybe even excited. What did you find? Music, human music. Nira, it's incredible. They create sounds that serve no practical purpose, but listening to them made me feel things. Strange things. What kind of things? Nira asked. Sadness, joy, longing, all from organized sound waves. Our people stopped making music generations ago because it wasn't efficient. But humans, they need it. They create it constantly. In every culture, every time period. Play something, Nira said. Soft sounds filled the room. It was a song from Earth, something slow and gentle. Taiyang recognized it. His mother used to sing it when he was young. The memory made his chest tight. Oh, Nira breathed. I see what you mean. They listened in silence. Taiyang wanted to open his eyes, to see their faces as they experienced human music for the first time. But he stayed still. When the song ended, Lisa spoke quietly. We gave up too much, didn't we? In becoming efficient, we lost the ability to create beauty just for its own sake. The Council doesn't see it that way, Nira replied. They think emotions are primitive, inefficient. They want us to study humans to understand why a species so emotional can still thrive. What will you tell them? The truth, that human emotions aren't a weakness, they're a strength. They drive humans to create, to explore, to connect. Without emotions, we have no reason to do anything beyond basic survival. The Council won't like that answer. No, they won't. But it's what the data shows. And unlike the Council, I haven't forgotten how to accept uncomfortable truths. Taiyang heard respect in Lisa's response. You're brave, sister. That's why I agreed to come on this mission with you. And because you were bored. That too, Lisa admitted with a laugh. Life in the Valoric Federation is very predictable. Everyone follows the same paths, thinks the same thoughts. When you said we could study humans, I saw a chance for something different. And now, after meeting one, is it what you expected? No, Lisa said slowly. It's more. Everything about him is more. The way he solved problems with limited resources. The way his face showed every emotion even when he was scared. The way he thanked us despite being on an alien ship. Humans are intense. Is that good or bad? I don't know yet, but I want to find out. Nira moved closer to Taeyang's bed. He felt her presence, warm and curious. Look at him, Lisa, so peaceful now. But when he was awake, his eyes were constantly moving, observing, analyzing. Humans never stop thinking. Their minds are always active. That must be exhausting. Or exhilarating. Imagine experiencing everything so deeply. Every color brighter. Every sound more meaningful. Every touch more significant. You sound like you want to be human, Lisa teased. Perhaps not human, but I wouldn't mind feeling things the way they do. Just once, to understand what we've lost. Something touched Taeyang's hand. Soft fingers traced the lines of his palm. The touch was gentle, exploring. Nira's voice was barely a whisper. His skin is warmer than ours. Softer, the texture is fascinating. Sister, you're doing it again. Doing what? Touching him. You keep finding excuses to touch him. The hand pulled away. I'm being scientific. Gathering data through multiple senses. You're attracted to him. Admit it. Silence stretched between them. Taeyang's heart pounded. He hoped they couldn't hear it. Fine, Nira finally said. Yes, I find him attractive. Is that what you want to hear? In all my research, I never expected this. But there's something about humans. Something that calls to us. I feel it too, Lisa admitted. When he looked at us with those expressive eyes. When he tried to thank us in broken words. I felt something. Something I thought our people couldn't feel anymore. The council would call this contamination. They'd say we've let our subjects influence us inappropriately. Maybe the council is wrong. Maybe this is exactly what we needed. To remember what it feels like to connect with someone. What do we do now? Lisa asked. We continue our research. We learn everything we can about humans. And when he wakes, we treat him with the respect he deserves. Not as a specimen, but as a person. And if we develop inappropriate feelings, then we deal with them honestly. Humans value honesty. I've read that in their literature. They prefer truth even when it's uncomfortable. Footsteps moved toward the door again. But this time Lisa paused. Nira, what if he already knows? What if he's been awake this whole time? Taeyang's breath caught. He kept his face perfectly still. Impossible, Nira said confidently. Look at the monitor. His brain activity shows deep sleep patterns. And his translator was damaged. Even if he was awake, he wouldn't understand us, but humans are clever. You said so yourself. Not that clever. Come, sister. Let him rest. We can analyze our findings and prepare for his awakening. The door closed. Taeyang waited several minutes before opening his eyes. He stared at the ceiling, processing everything he had heard. They found him attractive. Both of them. They were questioning their entire culture because of meeting him. And they had no idea he understood every word. He should probably tell them the truth. It was only fair. But something made him hesitate. If they knew he could understand them, they would be more careful with their words. He would lose this window into their real thoughts and feelings. And right now, those thoughts and feelings were the most interesting things in the universe. Taeyang smiled in the darkness. He would tell them eventually. But not yet. First, he wanted to understand these fascinating alien sisters a little bit better. For science, of course. Purely for science. The red warning lights flashed across Taeyang's face as he stared at the control panel. His cargo ship, the Solite, was dying. The navigation computer had crashed 3 hours ago, and now the life support system was failing too. He could hear the air recyclers making strange grinding noises. Taeyang pulled off his jacket and wiped the sweat from his forehead. The temperature inside the ship was rising. He had maybe 2 days of breathable air left, perhaps less. His fingers moved quickly over the keyboard, trying one more time to restart the main systems. Nothing worked. He floated to the back of the ship where the emergency supplies were stored. Opening the metal locker, he grabbed tools and spare parts. If the computer wouldn't fix itself, he would have to do it the old way. His grandfather had taught him how to repair machines with almost nothing. That skill might save his life now. Taeyang remembered why he left Earth. The cities were too crowded, too noisy. Everyone wanted to tell him how to live his life. Out here in space, he was free. He could go anywhere, do anything. But freedom didn't mean much if you died alone in the dark. He opened the panel behind the pilot seat and started pulling out wires. The ship's manual said not to do this, but the manual also said the navigation system would never fail. Taeyang connected 3 green wires to a backup battery. The lights flickered, then came back on. Good. That would buy him more time. Next, he needed to fix the air recycler. He crawled through the narrow tunnel that led to the environmental controls. The machine was hot to touch. One of the filters had melted. Taeyang pulled it out carefully and replaced it with a spare. The grinding noise stopped. The air started flowing normally again. 2 hours of work gave him 2 more days of life. It wasn't much, but it was something. Taeyang returned to the cockpit and activated the emergency beacon. The signal would travel through space, hopefully reaching someone who could help. He sat in his chair and waited. Hours passed slowly. Taeyang ate a protein bar and drank some water. He looked out the window at the stars. They were beautiful but cold. He thought about his family back on Earth. His mother probably worried about him. His sister had told him he was crazy to become a space hauler. Maybe she was right. A small beeping sound made him sit up straight. Something was on the radar. Taeyang leaned forward and checked the screen. A ship was approaching. It wasn't a human ship. The design was strange, organic-looking, like it had been grown rather than built. He had never seen anything like it. His heart started beating faster. First contact with aliens was supposed to happen at official stations, with diplomats and security teams. Not like this, not with a broken ship and no way to escape. Taeyang watched as the alien vessel came closer. It was twice the size of his cargo ship, with smooth curves and a soft blue glow. The alien ship moved alongside his and extended a docking tube, metal connected with metal. Taeyang heard the hiss of air pressure equalizing. He stood up and moved to the airlock, his hand resting on the emergency weapon locker. He decided not to open it. If they wanted to hurt him, a small pistol wouldn't help anyway. The airlock door opened. 2 figures stepped through. They were humanoid, but clearly not human. Their skin had a faint blue color and seemed to shimmer slightly in the light. Strange markings covered their arms and faces, glowing with a soft golden color. They wore fitted suits that looked both practical and elegant. The taller one stepped forward. She had long silver hair that seemed to move on its own. Her eyes were large and dark like deep pools. She raised her hand in what might have been a peaceful gesture. Taeyang raised his hand too, copying her movement. The second alien was slightly shorter with violet-tinted skin. Her markings glowed brighter, pulsing with different colors. She looked around his ship carefully, her hand resting on something that might have been a weapon. Her eyes were sharp and cautious. The tall one spoke. The words were musical but made no sense. Taeyang shook his head and pointed to his ear, trying to show he couldn't understand. She nodded and pulled out a small device. She touched it to her throat and spoke again. This time the words came out as broken Korean. "We help. You hurt?" Her voice was gentle, concerned. Taeyang shook his head. "I'm okay, but my ship is broken." The violet-skinned alien moved past him and examined the control panel. She made a clicking sound that might have been surprise or approval. She turned to her companion and spoke in their language. The taller one nodded. "You come with us," the tall alien said. "We fix you." "We fix ship." Taeyang felt dizzy. The lack of good air was catching up with him. His vision started to blur. He tried to answer, but his words came out wrong. The room spun around him. He felt himself falling. Strong hands caught him before he hit the floor. The tall alien supported his weight easily, as if he weighed nothing. She said something quick to her companion. Taeyang felt something cool being pressed against his face. It was a mask. Clean, fresh air filled his lungs. "Breathe," the alien said softly. "You are safe." They helped him walk through the docking tube into their ship. Everything was strange. The walls glowed with soft light. The air smelled like flowers he had never encountered. Sounds echoed in ways that didn't make sense. His feet felt light, as if the gravity was different. They brought him to a room filled with equipment he couldn't identify. The surface of the bed was soft and seemed to adjust to his body. The violet-skinned alien attached small devices to his chest and forehead. They beeped quietly. Taeyang tried to stay awake, tried to ask questions, but exhaustion pulled at him. The last thing he heard before darkness took him was the tall alien speaking to her companion. The translator device caught a few words in broken Korean. Human, interesting specimen. The words echoed in his fading consciousness. Specimen, not person, not guest. Specimen. A cold feeling spread through his chest, but he was too weak to do anything about it. Sleep claimed him and the world went dark. Taeyang woke slowly. His body felt strange, like he was floating in warm water. He tried to open his eyes, but his eyelids were heavy. Voices spoke nearby, soft and musical. The language was unfamiliar, but something about it felt calming. He focused on his other senses. The surface beneath him was soft and seemed to move slightly with his breathing. Something hummed quietly in the background. The air smelled clean with a hint of something sweet. He was alive. That was good. Taeyang managed to crack his eyes open just a little. Through his eyelashes, he could see two figures standing near him. The alien sisters. They were looking at something above him, pointing at images that floated in the air. The images showed his body from the inside. His heart, his brain, his bones, all displayed in glowing blue light. The taller sister, the one with silver hair, touched the floating image of his brain. She spoke to her companion in their language. Her voice carried excitement. The violet-skinned sister responded, her tone more careful, more questioning. A small device on the wall beeped. The silver-haired one touched it, and suddenly Taeyang could understand some of their words. His translator implant, the one in his ear, was working again. It must have learned their language from the earlier conversation. The neural patterns are fascinating, the silver-haired one said. Look at the connections. So many more than we expected. The human brain creates new pathways constantly. Is that good or bad, Nira? The violet-skinned one asked. So the silver-haired one was called Nira. Taeyang kept very still, breathing slowly and evenly. He wanted to hear more. It explains much, Lisa, Nira replied. This is why humans adapt so quickly, why they learn languages in days that take us months. Their brains are constantly rebuilding themselves, Lisa. Now he knew both their names. Taeyang felt his heart beat a little faster. He hoped they couldn't see that on their monitors. The council was right to send us, Lisa said. Humans are not like other species we've encountered. But Nira, are you sure we should keep him here? What if he wakes up and becomes aggressive? Look at his readings. His stress levels are low. Even unconscious, his body trusts us. Besides, we saved his life. Humans value that highly. They form bonds through shared crisis. Bonds, they were talking about bonds with him. Taeyang didn't know if he should be flattered or worried. They had saved him, yes. But they were also studying him like he was some kind of experiment. Did you see how he fixed his ship? Lissa asked. With almost nothing. Just spare parts and determination. Our engineers would have needed 3 days and proper equipment. He did it in hours. Human ingenuity, Nira said. There was admiration in her voice. That's what the reports called it. They improvise. They take risks. They refuse to give up. Is that why the council is interested in them? Lisa asked, partially. But it's more than that. Humans feel things deeply, Lissa. Love, hate, joy, sadness. All at intensities we can barely imagine. Our people have optimized those feelings away over generations. We're efficient, yes, but we've lost something. There was silence for a moment. Taeyang could hear his own heartbeat in his ears. They thought humans were special. Not dangerous or primitive, but special. Sister, Lisa said quietly. Look at him. Really look. Footsteps came closer. Taeyang kept his breathing steady. His face relaxed. He felt someone leaning over him. The sweet scent grew stronger. What am I looking at? Nira asked. He is. The word in their language is handsome. The features are symmetrical. The bone structure is strong but refined. And did you notice his eyes when he was awake? They showed so much expression. Taeyang felt heat rising in his face. They thought he was handsome. Aliens thought he was attractive. He tried desperately to keep his expression neutral. Lisa, we're scientists. We should remain objective, Nira said. But her voice was uncertain. I am being objective, Lisa replied. I'm observing. And I observe that humans are more appealing than our data suggested. The images didn't capture it properly. Something soft touched Taeyang's forehead. A hand, perhaps. The touch was gentle, almost hesitant. It pulled away quickly. Nira, did you just... Lisa's voice carried surprise and amusement. I was checking his temperature. The human method. Their medical texts suggest... We have scanners for that, sister. You wanted to touch him. And what if I did? We're allowed to be curious. That's why we became researchers. Curious about human biology, yes, but this seems different. Silence again. Then Nira spoke, her voice quieter. Perhaps it is different. Perhaps that's what makes humans so fascinating. They make us feel things we thought we had evolved past. Taeyang's mind raced. This was much more complicated than he thought. They weren't just studying humanity as a species. They were attracted? Interested? He wasn't sure what to call it. How long until he wakes? Lysa asked. The scans suggest another few hours. His body is healing quickly. Much faster than expected, actually. Another point for human resilience, and what will we tell him? Lysa asked. We can't explain that we're secretly studying his species for the council. He'll think we kidnapped him. We saved his life. That's true. We'll say we're xenobiologists doing research in this sector. Also true. We don't need to mention the specific focus of our research. Not yet. You want to keep him here, Lisa said. It wasn't a question. For observation. For research. We need more data. One human is not enough to understand the species, and it has nothing to do with finding him attractive. That is irrelevant to the research, Lisa laughed. It was a pleasant sound like wind chimes. Sister, you're terrible at lying. We both know you're interested in more than his neural patterns, and you're not. Nira challenged. Another pause. Perhaps I am. Just a little. Footsteps moved toward the door. We should let him rest. The monitoring systems will alert us when he wakes. Come, sister. We have reports to compile. Nira, what if he already knows? What if he heard us? Impossible. He doesn't know our language. His translator device was damaged in the accident. And look at his readings. Deep sleep. He knows nothing. The door closed with a soft hiss. Taeyang waited, counting slowly to 100. Then he opened his eyes fully and stared at the glowing ceiling. His face was burning hot. They found him attractive. Both of them. And they wanted to keep studying him. He should be angry, maybe even scared. Instead, he found himself smiling. This was going to be interesting.